finally solve this issue.
I wish I can. Nice talking to you. Nice meeting my fellow panelists here. My name is Dr. Donald Zubike. I want to reference a couple things the former speaker made, some comments she made. With regards to uh, cooking, a woman coming to the Western world not to cook for her husband and everything. My point is this: from back home, we have a culture. And the culture is that every mother in a house places her daughter in the kitchen to teach her how to cook. So, how come coming to America makes it different? Why should it be different now? Why should it be the work of a? Why should it be a split responsibility between husband and wife? I'm not saying that a man should not cook. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are men that can cook better than women. There are women that, of course, women they are naturally gifted to be better cook than men, but majority women cook better than men. So I'll see a situation where a man that can cook better jumps into the kitchen and take care of the thing and cook, for the family. Like for example, if I'm capable of cooking anything, I go ahead and cook. But if, of course, most of the times my wife is a very good cook. Trust me, I will dare not attempt to go into the kitchen to cook anything because I I just want I just want to just spoil myself on her cooking. I just love that. But the fact is this: we should not negate or forget the fact that we come from a place where we have a culture where women are taught in the kitchen on how to cook and serve their husband. Now, if you come to America, we know that everybody works, man and woman and everything. But then now, it will be as a man, I will not mandate my wife to cook. No, rather it should be out of her volition because she's naturally made to do the thing. It should not be a quarrel, or it should not come across as domineering or try to authorize her. Oh, you must do this or you must do that. No, but the simple fact that I'm making is that we have a culture. We come from somewhere, and we've been taught on how to carry ourselves in our husband's house and all that. And most of all, the last point I want to make is anybody coming into marriage from your teenage age, you should have a fantasy of what you expect in your marriage, in your home, how you're going to love your beautiful wife, how you're going to love your wonderful.
Network, oh, is that network?
It's
Network, is
NEPA.
that you?
NEPA.
Hey, Adubegu, see what thing happened to your backup.
That women power. So that I don't offer somewhere.
And Adubegu, the fear of women is the beginning of wisdom.
Maybe
See
maybe
what they did to your
we should
No,
backup.
head
that
No,
we have a
he's
Okay.
problem,
back.
and
No,
that
we
could
are
be one
there.
of
We
the
are here.
reasons why we're having issues in our relationships. They will.
Okay. Sir, we
we
didn't
didn't even
hear
hear what you
what you
said.
said, though.
We were
Your
lost.
camera went off.
He had glitch.
Yeah, your camera went off. We didn't hear like half of the things you said. Hello, Dr. Zubike, can you hear us? Yeah, he's having network issues. Dr. Zubike, can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, let him log out
I'm
and
sorry. Can
log
you
in.
hear me?
But
Now
yeah,
we
now
can hear you
Oh,
now. Can you hear me? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
He should log off and come back. Yeah.
so AB, there's something interesting that I want to bring to your knowledge, which is May
Mm-hmm.
simple solution to the problems. If a woman wants to share the caregiving duties, then she should make room for another woman. But I don't think we want to talk about that.
You said
Ah, okay.
what did you say?
Wahala be like a
Don't get
bicycle.
me started because when you get me started,
What
trust me,
did
I'm
she
gonna
say?
lose the
She
culture
said
and just
make room
tell
for
you
another woman. Why?
So she said, simple solution to the problem. If a woman wants to share the caregiving duties, then she
Uh,
should make room for another woman. But I don't think we want to talk about that. Okay.
oh, that's from the chat. Okay.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
my God, May has broken the table.
So
May, you just scattered the table.
what about if
But
a
we
woman
wanted to
doesn't
hear
want to
what
talk about
Dr.
it?
Zubike said, concluded with. Doc, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. No, we didn't hear the
Yeah,
last
but
part of
you
your
need to speak
speech
out. We're not actually
because
hearing you well.
your camera went off.
Oh, really? I only said, I think I remember saying that ideally it would be a good idea for, we all have our imaginations as we how
Mhm.
we'll conduct ourselves when we grow up and get married. You're in your home, your lovely home with your husband and wife. You treat him with respect. You treat her with love and everything and caring and everything. You see, so why
Mm,
should that change when you come to America? Why should that imagination evaporate? Why? Except there's something underneath or beneath what I can see. You know, maybe there's competition or something like that. I don't think I want to compete with anybody. If I love you, I love you with everything I have in me. I will not mind you having more than myself. You having three cars, I have two cars or one car. I wouldn't mind as long as you're my wife. You are in my. You are married to me. And then
you own her and the cars.
exactly, especially when we're in the other room and I dominate. So I'm the man. So why should I quest? Why should I be seeking for extraordinary dominance over my wife? Why should that be? I mean, I think it's just. I don't think it's necessary. You just give what you have. Give what you have. Give what you nurtured yourself over the years to bring to the table when you get into a marriage. That's the way I
Hmm.
see it. You see, that's my simple submission. Day one.
Okay. Thank you
No,
so much. Well said. Your points were well understood. It makes sense. It makes sense. But unfortunately, some men don't get that. Some men will feel like for them to feel like they're the man or they're in charge, they have to
Mm.
suppress the woman,
Nah,
you know.
nah.
But thank God for men like you, which is
Then,
a lot because I know we talk about the bad ones. I know there are a lot of good men, my
oh
own
yeah.
husband included. So we thank God for people like you, and we hope there's a platform like this for you guys to voice it out to the other ones, so they will
Hmm.
begin to, because it's all about creating this awareness, so they can begin to change. Me, I still say is mindset. Those
Right.
mindset they grew up with
That's
is
right.
eating up on a lot of our men and
Hmm.
trickling down to women. So women
Hmm.
that are not built to endure, you know, they check out. They can't
That's
handle
right.
it anymore. They
Hmm.
check out. And then the cycle continues. The children do the same thing. But it's definitely an epidemic that something needs to be done about. Kemi, do you have anything to say to what Doc have said? I know we haven't heard from you in a while. Kemi, are you there?
mm.
Yes, I am.
This
Yeah.
man is raising bar. Read what is written there.
So, Doctor Precious, what do you mean
Read it
by
out,
women
please.
not enduring? I disagree with the host. It's mostly a woman that the man.
That
If
is
you
the
can,
problem.
okay. Doctor AB, I'm gonna tell you after today's podcast, you need to go outside your friend zone and get us men that think like this, to be honest. And we want to see them in the platform. We just don't want to see them chat. I feel that we're having too many good men come up on the stage. We
You're looking
need,
for
Oh
bad men.
wow.
Lala, speak
That's
louder so we can
impressive.
hear you. Lala, we cannot hear you. Well, you say
can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
yes.
Okay. So I said, AB, you have to go outside your friend zone. You have to go make more friends or more people or mix up with those men that are narcissists. We want to see this cultural men that thinks that putting a woman in slavery is culture. You keep
Oh no.
bringing us good men, like the likes of Odumegu, like the likes of Dr. Donads. The last time we saw our brother Emeka. Now, we want to see men that are really narcissists. We want to see men that are really like, they have all these crazy ideas how their women should be. And if possible, if men can come up, that would be nice because men is just shaking the table and not coming up. How about we discuss it now?
May you wanna come into the studio? You
When
can
May
you can
say when
hit
May chat
link in the
something
chat.
like
It's
that,
pinned. Then
because
we can let you into the
May,
studio because
you have actually changed the way I'm gonna
May is
sound.
just over there in her little corner shaking the table.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to. I don't want to change. I want it to still be a little bit erotic. I don't know how I got here right now because I am getting there. Do you think, May, if we want another woman to help this man, like a second wife, how about my sisters that are equal to the task to marry two husbands? Why don't we talk about polyandry? Yeah, because if you can be on the comment section and get into our nerves and you don't want to come up here, let's talk about women. Dr. Precious, I know women that can marry two husbands. I know women that can marry three husbands and they will still succeed. So if you think that a woman needs to step down
I think I've
and
lost
get
everybody.
a second person, then I think that a man has to be
Hello.
ready to submit to a woman. A
Yeah, we can
man,
hear you, Kemi.
if you're thinking like that, May, I want to tell you that a man should be ready to submit to a woman. Because if you cannot take things like that, please don't throw it to someone else. Because that's the problem we're having. Many men are bringing the narrative of they are bisexual, there is lesbianism, and there's whatever homosexual. So we reduce it. I don't even know where they got the statistic where men are less and women are more. And when you ask them where they brought that from, they'll tell you that more men are in jail than women are in jail. Okay? And then they'll tell you, is it not better for one man to marry three women? It'd be one of the conversation I had with a brother 3 days ago. He said, why don't women allow one man to marry three women? I said, is it one broke man or one strong man? And he said, oh no, they have money and all that. I said, okay, it's not money is not only what is needed to harness or help a marriage. Because sometimes people think it's money. There are people that have money, they don't have peace, they don't have happiness, right? But there's money,
Hmm.
right? So I also told him, I said, okay, why don't we allow women in our culture to be able to marry two husbands and three, if need be? He said, no, 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 nobody is going to allow that. I say, yeah, because in your head, you're still behind. There are men that don't want to be men. They leave our sisters back home. They go to the country of their choice, reside there, come back at will, and tell you that overseas are not good for their wives. So their wives was meant to live without husbands. We're not talking about those things. I know that a man is never going to submit to his wife. But however, I know that being a leader means that you have to serve. You have to serve as a leader. That is what leadership means. You don't need to you know, you don't need to keep being an authority when people cannot question the authority or talk about things. And it's just you come into the house and you say, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. So, AB, the way I'm going to drop this right now is please go outside your circle, go and make friends with these bad men and bring them here so that we can know how to go about this. Because it's sad that when you bring this our brothers that are good men and good
Opera,
husbands, we can't
opera.
find the bad men anywhere.
Okay, May is in the studio. I think May is actually a woman.
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
Hi
Hello.
everyone. Hi
Hello.
everyone.
How
Can
are
you hear me?
you?
Hello, host. Thank you for bringing me up. How's everyone doing? I'm in the UK, by the way. So I just stumbled across the stream randomly.
okay.
Well, we're happy to have you. Thank you for stopping by. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
you
you for
should.
bringing me up.
No problem at all. You completely broke the table. Okay. So everybody's ready to hear why you think that women are the problem. Please let us know because,
Okay.
oh my God, she's gone.
Uh,
Let's see if she can come back in.
Mhm.
I think she's actually a woman, and she's saying that women are the problem. Lolo, you were thinking May is a man, right? That's why you said I should go make friends with
Whatever.
bad men. May is
She's
Whatever.
back.
actually a female.
That's
She's
okay.
back.
Let's give her the audience and get what she has to say. Go on, sis.
Hi there. So I was just listening to the conversation, and I think that I'm all the way in the UK. I'm obviously of Nigerian descent as well, but I was born and raised in the UK. Experience, and even just for my own personal growth, I've had to look at where I went wrong in my relationships, and what I needed to do to improve them. And I realized that actually majority of the fault was actually me. And this isn't something that's only unique to me. I
Hmm.
think this is across
Oh, we lost her.
This network issue, is really, really frustrating.
I think she's driving.
Of course, there's a lot of divorce. What she's saying is not isolated. There's a lot of divorce
Back.
where the woman
I
is a
think she's
problem.
back
I
on.
agree with that.
She's back
But we're
on.
talking about majority. Of course, there are women that are regretting, and I appreciate May so much because it looks like she found out where she went wrong, and with that she'll be able to correct it, and maybe her next relationship will be better because of it. But there
She's
are women
back.
who
She's
will
back.
never
Oh, she's back.
accept, there are women who will never accept that they went wrong. They will still want to twist the issue and make it the man's fault. So this, what we are saying is that we are talking about majority, but of course, there's still a handful that I know women that I'm like, oh my God, my son will, if I have a son and I know you, I will not let my son marry you because of the way they behave. There are women that are just hateful. There are women who wish their mother-in-law, father-in-law are
Are dead.
gone, are right, because they don't want to deal
Jezebels.
or accept anybody. So there, of course, there are bad women. We are not disputing that at all. But we're talking about majority, but while we still wait for May to come in and let us know, because again, we're really looking for somebody. John,
No,
don't feel as if she's back. Let
we
her talk.
men.
I know you will like this John
Men
character.
must
I know he will like
I
me.
like when we want to learn.
Can
I like
I?
when a man is accountable and a woman is accountable. That's good. Go ahead.
Okay,
May is not back. Okay, hello. Is that Kemi?
yes, that's me. I okay. I think for me, kind of looking at this in the sense that um, we're looking for a way forward and we're looking for solutions and not just talking about what the problems are. We know the problems. We know mindsets is basically issues with African men. There's been mindset issue right from time, the way we were raised. And even the women, we have our own because we've raised certain expectations of them because of the way we were raised. We've seen our parents behave with themselves. But I believe we all had a different family and we can do better. We don't need to replicate whatsoever we've seen with our parents in our home. We have our families and we can actually build new legacy, new things we want to pass on to our children. And I believe that's why we're having this kind of talks because we want to make things better, you know. And so rather than just pointing accusing fingers on just men alone, I know yes, the issues are there. But I'm looking at that, it goes beyond just is and that as in there are serious issues that can be as in that to be discussed. Even there are issues definitely when you talk about dishes, chores, and there are little stuff that builds up into this resentment that we have, you know. But I feel there are more cogent, there are more issues as in that can really be talked about rather than just who does the dishes and all because men have areas where they are pulling their own weight too, rather than just the dishes and all. I don't know if that drives some sense across,
Yeah,
but I was
yes,
just
yes, yeah, making sense.
yeah. So it goes beyond just chores and who does this, who does that. And I believe, okay, children are growing. Even if we're to argue on chores, children will grow up and they will fill up this space. And the resentment you have built over the years with your husband because of chores, now you continue even after your children have gone. I don't know if that's really making sense, but I'm just looking for a way forward rather than just we talking about what's not, you know. And
Yes, we
I
actually
just believe, yes, rather than just
the
nagging.
list.
I told you, I said
Mm.
there was a time I realized I guess I'm nagging too much over who is doing the house chores and who is not doing. So lately, to give myself some peace, whether you do it, whether you don't do it, if I don't feel up to it at that moment, I don't do it. I leave it. When I'm ready, I come back to do it. And I'm getting to, okay, my children are getting to that level where I'm trusting God very soon. They start doing so much of those house chores. So I believe the resentment and all will reduce. And that's the hope I'm having, because I think it cuts across most men. It's just the
Uh,
few
But
that
you
will tell
see,
you,
what I think,
it's the few
what
that will tell you I can, it's the few that maybe they were raised with in a family where as a man you must do the house chores. But if you
but
check
you see,
70% of Nigerian men,
mm,
70% of Nigerian men will tell you, I don't like doing house chores. And if we keep
yes,
hammering
Kemi,
on that, they might not really
if you
go
don't
far.
mind, if
May,
you
yeah,
don't mind
that's
me,
fine.
yes, you have spoken quite well, Kemi. You made a lot of sense. But if you don't mind me cutting it a little bit, I think what you're saying is this is how they are. But you see, there's
Yes,
a beauty, there's this thing that is so beautiful about human beings. We have been created with the ability to adapt, to adjust. So I don't think we should just say just because 70% of them don't like doing it, that's how they're raised, it's okay. But you can see obviously it's not okay. It's creating a lot of chaos. Marriages are breaking over tiny things. So I think it will serve us all well for these 70% of men you're talking about to adjust. For the women have to adjust to working 9 to 5. Back home, women didn't work 9 to 5. They stayed home. The job that women will have is more, at most a teacher. So they go to school with the kids, they come home with the kids. And they still have maids that will help
mhm.
them do stuff at home. So I think if the men that in question will just adjust a little bit, and then women will lower their expectation, we will meet in the
exactly.
middle. And
Can I
this
Yeah.
can I
marriage, this
just
divorce
can I
will
chip in
reduce.
something real quick? Can I chip in something real quick? I
Yes.
grew up in a home where I was taught to wash dishes right from the age of, I think, 8 or 9,
Yeah.
and I
Beautiful.
did wash dishes for a very long time. A very long time. I had like 5 siblings. I had 5 younger siblings. But then prior to that, I think I started washing dishes from age 9, and I did it for a very long time. And I graduated from dishwashing when, when I moved away. So I did dishes for myself when I was single. So, but then when I got married, I realized that hey, I got so tired of this thing. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. So my
It
wife was
became a
doing the dishes.
trauma.
A trauma. Thank you, because of the childhood engagement. So now the thing is this: every man should discover his strength, where his strength is. Over the years, I realized that my strength is really not good in dishwashing anymore, but my strength is good. My strength is directed at like fixing the cars, making sure that the house everything is running fine, and everything is going good, and
Yeah.
check every areas that you feel that is the attention is needed. So I'm surprised, but then I told my wife this. I told my wife this. I said, when the kids all grown up and leave the home, I can now go ahead again and support you. But I can't at this stage while I have kids be washing dishes anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I think I've done enough. But I will assist you when they have all left, then I can come back and restart from start from where I stopped. So I don't think is really a good thing for something like dishwashing to be a situation, a problem in a home. I really,
Exactly.
if that's a big if that's a problem in a home, then I'm sorry, I don't think they should be in that situation. They
No,
should just move
you'll
on.
be surprised why marriages are breaking.
Mhm.
I personally have had so many things that don't make sense. Marriages are breaking over the tiniest of things nowadays. Yes, that dishes is a big deal to a lot of people. And what you said makes a lot of sense. If there are kids in the house, a man should not be washing dishes. Even the woman, the kids should be taught to take like if the kids are around and I see my husband, because my husband, thank God, dishes is one thing he doesn't have a problem with. He will not wash everything, oh, but you see that one that you used to serve him, I serve him sometimes when I have opportunity. If I'm home, when he finishes eating, I don't know who trained him. He will carry that one dish and go.
It's nice.
He could be a million dishes in the sink, oh, but he will wash that one. And whenever I see him doing that, if there are kids around, I'll be like, no, babe, come out of there. I'll say, come on, go and wash dishes. He's so used to it that he does it. So I agree with you. If there are kids around, he shouldn't be washing dishes. Even the woman shouldn't be washing dishes. Both of them should train the kids to start reducing that responsibility from them. That's another thing in diaspora. We get to that. We're not raising kids right. That's another thing I see because I'll go to visit
Mm.
people. The children will be playing games and the man and woman are running around washing dishes, doing this. So what are these children doing? So you are absolutely right, sir. So before we get back to that, May is back and May looks like her network is stable now. So May, you may continue. Let's hear from you, please.
Sorry, I was just listening to a bit of the conversation. Can you hear me properly, first of all?
We can hear
Can you hear
you.
me? Yeah, you can hear me fine. Okay.
Can you be
Sorry, I
more
was
audible?
coming in. It's not audible.
Can
No,
you
it's
guys
not
hear
good.
her?
Yeah.
I think it's better now.
I
Let
can.
her continue.
Yeah, can you hear me? No.
We can
Okay.
hear you,
Can
but
hear you.
it's not coming out right. We can't understand what you're saying.
Okay. Just give me 2 minutes then. All right.
Okay.
Okay, I will just take my leave. Thank you for your time. Thank you for spending your
Uh-uh.
time to listen to me. I really
Uh-uh.
appreciate it.
Doctor, I thought you came to support me. Are you running away?
You know,
And please,
imagine,
and
uh,
please, guys, before you leave, don't forget to like this video. And Rebecca, I hope I get a follow from you so we can
don't
stay
worry.
connected. And
I'm sorry I
so
can't read
don't
your
just
names.
jump in and jump out. Hmm?
I'm sorry I can't read your names. They are so tiny that I can't read them. So, but I don't worry, my brother. I will be supporting you superficially, and
No,
I know
voila. I'm just
there
pulling
are
your
many more
legs. It's
talented
okay.
ladies.
Mm.
They will
I'm equal to the
let you.
tax. I'm equal. I
I
don't
know
know.
you
Give
are
me
equal to.
body in it. I'm equal.
Doc,
I
I was
trust you.
saying before you leave, I hope you
When?
give me a follow so you can
Oh
stay
yeah, sure.
connected and see our next live
Okay.
events.
All right.
You know,
They winner.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you,
much.
guys. Thank you.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
I just want to listen to May talk, and
Okay,
then we
May,
can
we're
go.
yeah, we're ready.
Okay, so after, sorry, after the back and forth, hopefully you can hear me a bit better now.
Your volume is so low, I can't possibly hear you.
Any better now? I took off my headphones.
Too tiny,
Yeah,
too
it's better
tiny.
now. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. So I was sorry, I didn't catch the conversation and stuff. So I was just listening to bits of what I could catch. So I don't know in context what you want me to address. Is it my earlier comments?
Yeah, what you were saying earlier before your phone went off.
Well, what I was just saying is from observation and even just self-reflection, I've noticed what we've done, especially if we're talking about women in present day in contrast to our probably women of the past. We're talking about gender roles and we're trying to progress it into something else when previously historically those gender roles and duties worked. So I guess my question to you ladies is, why are we trying to progress forward to an unknown territory when in the past, what worked in terms of families and structures was everybody understanding their duties and their roles. So therefore, there was a role that the man played, and he would play that role, and there was a role that was expected of a woman. Why is it that now we're trying to progress into an unknown charted territories?
Is that a question?
Yes.
I don't understand the question. I
Okay.
think
Why
what
is it
you
that
were telling us
we're
is that you're
moving
saying
our
that women are the problem, why marriages are breaking. So
Yeah.
we're
yeah,
trying to understand why you feel so. That's number one. But now
Okay.
you're asking why we're going into unknown territories. I think I don't think we are. Like me, I love being
why
African. I love my culture. I don't think I want to enter any territory.
okay,
Me personally. Sorry, I'm
can
looking.
I
But go
answer
ahead
that?
and answer, Lola, why I'm trying to figure this chat.
So my name is Lolo Domegu, and I love my culture. I preach my culture. I possess my culture. I speak my culture. When you hear me speak in gatherings like this, I rather would be loved to be called Lolo Domegu. It doesn't mean I don't have a title of academics. It means that I solely love my culture. Now, we're having a wrong notion when we say that this marriages in Africa worked. It has never, most of these things never worked. The problem is that there was no social media to carry most of these things out. The problem is that, man, we had a lot of spam donors as husband versus having a husband. We had husbands that could give you material things and cannot give you or give the children emotional support. Now, has this worked in the past? No. The problem is that our parents were problem solvers, but we are not problem solvers. We create problems and we don't solve them. And I keep saying this is not the first time I'm going to say it, or the second time. Now, however, if these men want to be cultural as they claim, or Odumegu gave an advice to remain in their village. You don't need to come into a place that is civilized. You don't need to come into a place where it's structured for a woman. Most of the women take the major role outside the globe. But I should tell you guys one thing: a man will still be paid more than a woman is paid in anywhere in the world because they pay men higher. They've always paid men higher. Now, however, academics, education, solence has made us gather these degrees and come to use them to better our life. If I'm going to borrow the Mego word, he said, promote our life, promote ourselves due to environment we have found ourselves. So to answer you very, very well, it never had worked. I hear them refer to our mother. Our mother did this, our mother did not do that. When you go back to Igbo cosmology, when you go back to go study, I'm taking a place, Igbo. I won't tell you much about the Yoruba land because I'm not from Yoruba, but I guess they have theirs. If you go back to the things that happened back in the days, you will see that they were evil mothers. And so they were good fathers, and so they were good mothers, and so they were good wives and husbands. Nevertheless, if you tell me that why is women changing their role, can this man up and keep 4 jobs? I mean, a lot of women will say yes to become housewives. They will pay their bill, take care of them the way they should, and they will have women that thinks like that. So the question should be, rather than ask your sisters this question, I think we should ask our men, what do they really want? Because it sounds like slavery to me. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for that. You actually brought up some interesting points. What I usually find in these discussions is that, and I find this, it's quite common to me when I've observed this, which is for some reason, the two areas that I think seem to benefit men, and this is men across the world, seems to be their ability to earn more and their proclivity to sex in terms of their ability to have more than one woman in a way that we can't. And for some reason, whenever we gender conversation. I noticed that with us women, we seem to have an inherent issue with those two areas that I've just mentioned. And it's always as if like we're trying to struggle to achieve parity rather than actually embracing what we are as women. There's why we're created this way. There's grace, there's power, and there's strength within what we are as women. Where we are, and the reason I'm saying that we should concentrate on us as women rather than the men, when you actually look at the statistics and we step away from our experience, when you look at that shows actually women filing for the divorce. So therefore, especially in modern sense now, rarely are marriages happening. We're now pick our pick our partner. So with that being able to have choice also comes with a responsibility and also consequence, right or wrong. And I think what tends to typically in the relationships when they end or in marriages, we tend to say, oh well, it's his fault. The man, tell the men, talk to the men, talk to the men. My thing is if we respect leaders, it is not our role to tell the leader what it is to do to lead. It is our job to actually make sure that we're good followers. And I think that's the only thing that you're responsible for. I'm sure you would agree with me when I say this. You can't control anybody but your actual physical self. And I think as we look at this, we step away from our feelings a bit more and we look at observable reality, you will see that actually it is us. I think the other lady alluded the earlier call. I think she alluded to it and mentioned it that, we're breaking up for trivial reasons. And this is usually cited by the woman, and that's actually statistically facts. Where we're divorcing at a rate of around 70%. That means that it's the women that are walking away. And one of the highest reasons why women are walking away, it's actually cited to irreconcilable differences, which means it's ambiguous, which means you can't say it's this, or this. So I just find it interesting that when we're actually asking the question, we're asking men for a solution rather than actually looking internally and actually saying, do you know what, as a woman, maybe I've actually stepped into my masculine a lot more than I should have. Maybe I need to actually step back. Maybe I need to stop telling men what they need to be. And I actually need to understand a bit more what it means to be a woman. And I think that's only fair. And I think if we concentrate a bit more on ourselves as women, I find that, and we actually take accountability in that way, I find that men are far more benevolent and you find that men tend to come forward a bit more. And even, I think, like you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was you or someone else, but someone was like, we're all the narcissists. And I found that quite funny because from a medical sense, narcissists there's only about I think like 1% or a really low percentage in the world of actually clinically narcissists. So it's interesting that the lady said, well, all your friends hosts, all your male friends are all upstanding men. We don't want to speak to them. We want to speak to the bad men. And that was to actually prove and confirm her bias. I'll land it there.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Makes a lot of
she
sense. So,
yeah, I think she came out
I'm
from the
so
angle
Kenny,
where
I'm sorry. In her last statement, she said she used
Yeah,
the
Lola, hold on.
word
Please
bias.
let Kemi finish her sentence. Kemi, you were
Bias.
saying?
She used the word bias.
okay,
So I'd like to respond to that, or that's fine. I can call it a day.
No, no, no. You're gonna respond
oh
to that. But
no.
Kemi, what were you saying?
Okay, so I just wanted to like she's coming out from the angle at which I was looking at it because we know, yes, there are men that are not really standing up, they are not doing what they're supposed to do. Yes, we understand. But for those who are really doing what they are supposed to do, but we have this thing against them, okay, it has to be dishwashing and all. So, I was saying it's the minutest parts of what we should discuss. It's the minutest, it's not even the main issue,
Okay.
and she
You're saying
actually
like
hits the nail.
yes.
Yeah, that's not really the main issue,
I
because
see that's not the main issue.
yeah, and that was what I was trying to talk about then. That was what I was trying to talk about then. I'm not saying we shouldn't discuss this. Yes, there are men that are not standing up to
So
what they are
Kemi, what
supposed
do you
to.
think is the main issue?
So the main issue, we're talking about, there are issues with finances, there are issues with women. Not, she was talking about that um um sorry, how do I put it now? Now, for me, I'm looking at two people here. We're looking at those who are yet to be married so they don't make mistakes, because they have to look out for, okay, who you want to marry. Check the things that the qualities you're looking at. You don't want to make same mistakes. But we're also addressing people who are already married. And you're talking
Mhm.
to a 50-year-old man, a 40-year-old man, a 30-year-old man who grew up knowing this is the way they've been doing things. It's hard to say you need to just adjust now. And I think that's where most women are having the problems. I'm nagging because I want to change now. And it's not possible, because this is what you've been doing all your life. And you can't just change now just because I want it now. And these are issues that bring in problems in marriage. And you see people can't just, because they've bottled so much in over the.
Okay. I think Kemi is having network issues too. Kemi, can you hear me? Lol. Anyway, before I let Lola talk, because Lola was talking earlier, let me read what Imelda is saying. Imelda says, May, all that is awesome in the village, but I believe you're out of touch with reality. May, can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Okay. Well, it says, all that is awesome in the village, but I believe you are out of touch with reality because abroad is not our father's regular village setting. That is why there's a problem because the man refused to adjust.
Um,
Yeah,
on to that. I
it's
mean, if we're
go
looking,
ahead.
we're looking at the world, I like to think globally rather than just in my own village or in my own area. So I like to look at the world, and when I'm looking world. And if you listen to men and women, we're all saying the same thing, whether it's in our father's home or whether it's overseas. It's the same thing because at the end of the day, what the issue that's happening is that us women, we have, when we look at feminism, feminism has granted us liberties, which now puts us on an equal playing field to a man. But yet we're still complaining. And I'm saying that if you want to be equal to a man, there comes a level of responsibility. And if you want to be like the man and you want to be 50-50, then understand that you're going to forfeit the benefits that come with being soft, that come with playing your position. And these are things that women of the past actually fought to have. And yet still we're still complaining. So I actually completely disagree that with you when you say that this is in regards to back home. This is going on across the world, and that's not only just Africans. It's you look in various different ethnic communities across the world. We're all going through the same thing.
Yeah, I think I think the reason why people are feeling that way is because I think saying that women are the problem is may be too broad, and also saying that men are the problem may also be little too broad. I think both women and men are equally responsible for what we're seeing that is happening. But how
Exactly.
do we now bridge the gap? Is I think that's what we're coming in with. Is a strong mindset that men have been raised with. Even the men on the panel have accepted it, or the Megu said it. They were raised to think, oh, you don't go in the kitchen, you're this, you're the man, the woman will obey, the woman will do. And that, when you now come to diaspora, where women are expected to perform just as much as men, they're going out, they're working, they're doing all these things, they're fixing their own cars, they're doing a lot of things. They're now saying, okay, oh, men, with that mindset, can you adjust a little bit now? Because we're no longer being treated like we're being treated back home. But I do think it's harder for men to adjust their mindset than women. Women quickly adapt. They start working, they start fixing cars, they start learning how to go to the mechanic. But men kind of are stuck in that mindset, and I've seen it. I've seen it. I know a man that have been married 3 times, you know, not to say that it was his fault, but I know why I'm saying I think the mindset is a problem when it comes to men. Women, on the other hand, they also have their own problem. They're not exempted. And like I said, there's a handful of people that just have bad characters. We're not talking about those. They're bad women. We're not that bad women who they cheat on their husbands, they don't cook, they don't clean the house, they don't know where their kids are. There are women who are drunks. That we're not talking about those. There are also men the same that cheat around, don't work. There are men that refuse to work. They wake up, they sit on the couch. So, if a man is waking up, sitting on the couch, waiting for a woman to go to work, would you still be saying the same thing you're saying?
Um,
So,
can I answer that? Sorry, I have to interject because
go ahead.
you actually just showed a little bit of your bias there, host. Because whilst you said
Mhm,
that the responsibility to resolve this issue between men and women is a shared responsibility, you said it's both men and women. But then you went
mhm,
in monologue and went on to talk about what men needed to improve, and you took five
mhm,
seconds to acknowledge the bad women and quickly dismissed it and said, but we're not talking about that. And so what I'm saying is you might not realize it. And I think this is what we all do as women. I've had to even check my own bias across the door. So when I hear it from, pick it up instantly. So although you're saying it's a shared problem, what you're actually really saying indirectly is you believe that the responsibility and the blame and the person to actually um to change is the men, because you actually said it yourself. You said that the men are the
mhm,
difficult to adapt. So really what you're
mhm,
acting indirectly, whether you realize it, is you're saying men are the problem. And that's actually the problem right there. Because what I'm saying is, if we're all trying to, if you really believe that the issue is a shared one, then we will start to look at what we can actually control rather than keep looking at the opposite side. But you didn't do that. You asserted it more, mainly on men.
mhm.
I don't know
You
if you.
do realize that, according to, since we are going to tradition and Bible, let's even bring Bible into it. You do realize that men are the head. We all accept that. Men are the head of the home. With whom much is given, much is expected. They do actually have a bigger responsibility to make sure that a marriage works, unless they're dealing with these women that I talked about that are just bad. But if you're talking about these things like, you know, cooking, cleaning, running finances and all that, men do have a bigger responsibility. They do.
For cooking and cleaning. Are you serious? As an African woman, you're going to tell me that men have a larger responsibility for cooking and cleaning?
Not for cooking and cleaning, for making a marriage work. I don't even, I've said it in this panel. I do believe that women have the primary responsibility in the kitchen. They do. It doesn't mean that men should not help them. But I'm saying, by me saying that men, what you were saying, that I'm not biased, but I do hold men at a higher responsible. I hold them responsible at a higher rate than I do women. Because again, to whom much is given, much is expected. They're the head of the home. I didn't make it so. Even God Himself made it so.
No, but this is the problem
So,
when sis. Sorry, I'm passionate about.
It's sad that you use the word bias or unfair. Because
Sorry.
another way to say somebody is biased, it means that someone is unfair with their speech. Now, however, I'd like you to go succeed first in most of the ideas you have than to actually dish it out. Now, when people are successful in the ideas that they have raised, it means that they have tried and it's working out. When you sit up where you are and saying that you think that the problem is the women and they're pushing assignments to the men, kudos to you. I pray you make a good home with that. And however, I pray that you don't complain, because at the end of the day, the woman is on the receiving end. Now you brought feminism into things like this. Why do you think a woman is asking for equal rights? I've always said on this platform, the Bible was written by men. Give me the part that was written by women. It means majority of the scripture you read from Genesis to Revelation was written by a man. Now, it also means that the culture that you have been sarcastic about, however, was also written by men. But when you go to the animal kingdom, the women are the leader. When you go to plants, The women are the leader. I know you brought some of your objective from the medical point of view. I want you to take it to the animal point of view. And I want you to also take it from the plant. And if you know your plant very well, you will also know that it is the mother. Now, when you talk about motherland, you didn't say fatherland, you said motherland. When you read your national anthem, it talks about her. But however, we've made it about the men that will leave our father's house, take their names, bore kids for them, and still we also need to help them work on their home. So that means you're going about saying that men should just be sperm donor. It's okay if you have all these ideas, but please put them into implement. Implement them. And if it works out for you, kudos. But I'm standing from the objective. I never said that the problem is just lying on the men. When you heard me give my submission, however, I'm in the position to talk to women that have problems in their marriages. My marriage has passed a decade and counting. Now, it means that it's over 10 years and it's still counting. I'm not divorced yet. But rather, I'm telling you, when I have my sisters complain, when I have my sisters cry out, I still have to come up and speak as a woman, as a mother. However, when I have my brothers also complain, I'm still going to raise their points. But because you came into the program in a short notice, you didn't follow through. So I guess you never heard my submission. I also said I'm a cultural woman that has kids and that has been successful. However, my husband is a titled man. And if we come up with our education background, I don't think we're slacking either. We're still up there. So it's nearly impossible that I will marry an uneducated man. Very impossible that I will marry somebody that is not oriented. Very impossible that I will not that I'll get married to somebody that lack exposure. The lack of exposure has caused a lot of problems in our society today. Now, some men are being sarcastic in the comment section, being biased because they think that they need slaves as wives, and they continue going on and on and on. It's not their fault. I just pray they also succeed with that monopoly. I also pray that they succeed with that idea. Now, however, our sister Kemi talked about dishes. I didn't just talk about dishes. I talked about financial issues. Today, I didn't talk about sex being a problem because we've discussed it in the past. There are several issues that I raised that is the cause of marriage not succeeding. So when you leave a relationship and you blame just yourself, I find that a problem because it takes two to work. It takes two to tango. However, I was telling my sisters, I said, why don't you go with men before you go get a man? Why don't you try to know yourselves? Because most of us don't even know ourselves. And boom, we dabble into marriage. Boom, you dabble into marriage. So, and that's why they're failing in that marriage. I know some of you want a woman to just bottle up and die in silence, whether they go through emotional abuse, because I don't think some of us even know the meaning of emotional abuse, or we just want to be silent about it. And most people just think that even, all those things are okay. I don't like to bring my personal life into discussion, but if it's going to make you suitable, I will. I always teach. If you catch me on TikTok, I think I always teach majorly when I talk about marriage. I say that with my husband by my side, also discussing it too. So all I'm trying to say is that it takes two to tango. When you point it out that you think the women are the problem, the women will give birth, the women will go to work, and the women will still be suggested that they do home chores. That's okay. It's okay to talk about and put it this way, but I pray that none of you leave your homes for issues like that because we don't raise an issue, and the same women that were speaking for 60 or 40%, whatever is your percentage, are still the ones saying that we don't think this is a problem. And that's why I told Dr. Precious, I said, it'd be nice to bring people that have gone through things like this. It'd be nice to bring most of these men to the panel because we've got, since we started the show for married people, we've got men that are good men come to the panel. Emeka talked about how he was great in his marriage. We enjoyed that, right, Dr. Precious? Now you brought
Right.
Odumegu is on the panel. It shows that his wife is happy. And if you can see Odumegu, he looks like he's a very happy individual, right? And now we brought Dr. Azubike onto the
Doctor,
panel.
Doctor Godson, is it Godson? Is it
Yeah,
yes,
we brought Dr.
Donald.
Donald Azubike to the panel. He
Donald,
sounded
yes.
like, did you see his face? Can you tell that no matter what his age is, he's looking younger? I guess if Odumegu tells us his age, maybe I'm guessing 50 or close to 50, but he looks like he's a young man.
Ademagu
No.
looks 35 for I beg.
Okay,
Don't make my
okay,
brother
okay.
look
I'm
older.
I'm I'm sorry, but he looks younger. So all I'm trying to say is that stop judging people. The problem I have with some of my people are that they are so hypocritical. Like I don't know what else to use on them because they don't want to come to the platform to speak, but they want to banter words with the speakers. That would be so nice if I have people like Chinji Obi to the platform, and I also have his brother, I think something Obiora. If they come
I
up to the
have John
platform to
Obiora.
speak, it would be so nice and actually making me feel bad from the comment section. But hey, I can't feel bad. You know why? At least I'm not one of the single women. I'm married. Now, not saying that the single women are not living a better life, but also saying that the way you make people feel bad when they put their comments, please also take it back when it comes to you. I rest my case. Thank you, Wabi.
You have spoken well, Lolo. I think May is coming from a personal experience, which I can understand. If correct me if I'm wrong, May. And if that is the case,
No,
we
no, no.
do understand it.
I don't
But
believe.
I put it to you
Sorry,
that a
sis.
lot of women,
That
a
it's not.
lot of good women have been done dirty by men. So you ask those women, they will tell you men are the problem. But here on this panel, we're not even saying men are the problem. But I do, however, think men have a big share of the responsibility because I am very cultural, very traditional. I believe men are head. They're the head of the homes. I believe they deserve that respect. I believe women should submit to men. I believe all that. But at the same time, I believe that those men have that responsibility to make sure that woman is good financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all the least. But that is where men are dropping the ball. So when you drop this ball, you are a woman, this woman is stressed out, this woman is into a role that they're not trained for. They didn't grow up being aware of. They don't know what to do with themselves. We know that women file for divorce more than men. We can all agree on that. So we're finding out what is making these women file for divorce. And we're not talking about the exceptions because, like, we've acknowledged the exceptions. There are bad women, period. There are bad men, period. No matter what you do, they will not be happy. But then there's a majority of those 70% is what we're discussing that we know are good women because you can see these women, they will marry a different man and all of a sudden they're the perfect woman. So what happened with the previous marriage? The same thing, you will see this man, they will marry a different woman, the perfect man. So what happened with the previous marriage? So it lets you to know that there is a place that we will come to agree that me personally, what I have observed from talking to people, from counseling, believe it or not, counseling marriages, because people bring issues to me. I know how many people now that are in the verge of divorce, and I'm always advocating, work it out. I don't advocate for divorce. But when you listen to them, maybe I'm also talking from my personal, not personal experience as of me, but the people that I speak with. The mindset of these men cannot be changed. You are trying to tell them, Oh, this, they're like, once they're set in their ways, they're set in their ways. That's why I think is something that my sister Kemi said. It takes prayer. A man that is insecure, there is no amount of submission you can do for that man to be okay. There is no amount of service, amount of respect you can give that man for that man to be okay. It cannot happen because that insecurity is within. They have to work on themselves. They have to get to a place where they feel like they're enough. Otherwise, you step outside, you say hi to a man, they think you're cheating. You speak English, oh, because you went to school, you're trying to tell them you can speak English now. You buy a little chewing gum. Oh, you want to tell me you are making money now, you can buy whatever you want. Is insecurity of the man. There is nothing a woman can do that will change that. And for some reason, it happens a lot with men. So that's why I'm saying that the mindset, I think, is because we're all trying to decide to figure out what exactly is the problem. People have said different things. Kemi said it's mostly financial when the man is no longer making as much money and all that. Me, I think is the mindset that some men grew up with. That is the problem. If they can begin to change that mindset and start thinking of working together with a woman as opposed to I'm the man and this woman is my subordinate, that mindset is causing a lot of problems. If they can change it, they will work together because you see a man, you come home, your wife is still at work, or they can start dinner. They can call, honey, what are you going to cook when you come home? Let me get it started for you. I'm not even saying cook. Let me get it started. It's just being nice. Let's call it being nice. Just be nice, But there are some men, hey, they come home, their dinner is not on the table. Problem. The house is not clean. Problem. This woman is changing diapers, taking kids to school, working full time, doing oga. You self pity somebody's child now. So that's what I'm saying. Now I'm not experiencing that myself. Like I said here, my husband does wash dishes, especially his own. But even me, I'm the one telling him don't wash it because we have kids that can wash dishes. My kids can make fun all day long and say that I've turned into dishwashing machine. That's okay. As long as they're washing it. So what I'm saying is what I have seen going on. And I'm collecting this data from maybe 20 couples, 30 couples. I don't have access to millions of couples, but this is what I found. There is a need to change certain mindset in men. Sometimes maybe it's lack of exposure. I don't know. Maybe it's lack of, some of them maybe lack of education. I don't know. But there is a mindset issue because these men, they will go and maybe because they're in diaspora, when we talk about diaspora, or maybe because they have money, they will go and get the best of the women. They will get the most educated of them. They will get the most beautiful of them. And then you bring this woman and you are not delivering. They're not going to take it. They can take it for so long because you're not doing much for them. You see those marriages back home that you think they're working because the woman is dependent on the man. So the man can pretty much marry another wife. They're there. As long as you feed them, they're okay. So you actually said that polygamy, if a woman doesn't want to do this, that they should make room for another woman. Coming from a woman, my dear, come on now. You see, that's why sometimes they say that women are the other women's problem. Don't say that because we're trying to get these men to listen to us to do better because we're willing to give our own. We're willing. I never said here that a woman should do whatever they want. No, listen to your husband. Obey, I don't want to use the word obey before my gender will come from me. Submit to your husband. But at the same time, husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. If we can just follow this thing Christ said, there won't be one single divorce. The problem is when you're doing your part and the man is not loving, or when the man is loving and the woman is not submitting. That is the problem. I rest my case, my people. I will let somebody else. We need to round up because it's been 3 hours, but I'll let somebody else chip in. But anybody that is talking from now on, please, let's be including the solutions because we want to get that singular solution that will put an end to this excessive divorce and diaspora. Let's start including solutions so we can round up so anybody watching will actually be able to exit this platform with something. They will gain something here. And there is a war going on the in the chat section that is got me laughing. I mean, Imelda, please, my sister, we need you next time in this platform. Your voice needs to be heard. You are the Deborah of
No,
our
no,
time.
Ma, I
not
think
just in
I
not
just want
just in
to.
Melda. We need Obiora. I think something Obiora, and we need Chinji. They actually need to come to the panel so they can speak. Chinji Obi and what's his name again? I know his name is Obiora. John Obiora.
John
They actually need
Obiora.
to come,
John
and I would like to
Obiora.
be on the comment section where I hear them actually speak because it's easier to comment than to actually speak. Thank you.
You
Ma,
know,
I think
sometimes.
I just for me I
Um,
would because it's almost 11:30 here. I need to go to bed. I've learned so much this night, and it's been an interesting session. And seriously, I've really learned so much, and it's interesting getting to discuss this topic tonight. And like the host has said, I think I started with that it's just being kind to each other. When you're kind to each other, nothing matters. Whether someone who does this or does that, you're working towards the same goal. And if the kindness is the major, I think I mentioned it earlier. Like if I'm doing my part and I'm not looking at the parts where you're not doing, where I'm just being kind, at the end of the day, my kindness to you should do something to you. You would change easily. You know,
Mhm.
we are all human. We're meant to adapt. God has created us in that kind of way. And when you're good to, except the person is not human, maybe the person has his conscience dead. If I'm good to you, definitely you should reciprocate. So I just believe if everybody would do their part, just do your own part well and trust God to change whoever needs to be changed. And I believe God will help our marriages and those that are here to settle, God will settle them and they will settle well. So I'll just draw the curtain here. Thank you so much. It's been nice meeting
Amen.
everybody. All right. Good night.
Thank you so much, Kemi.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you. Good
you.
night.
thank you,
Wonderful.
Kimmy.
Please don't be a stranger. We need you to come back another time, okay?
With all pleasure. I'll be glad to come back anytime.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
my dear.
much.
Have a
Yeah.
wonderful night.
You too. Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Okay, I think I have to say something now. You guys want to crucify me because she spoke her mind,
No, we are
and
not crucifying
it's
her.
quite
May, please.
interesting that.
May, please, we are not crucifying you. Please, we love you. We are just trying to get to the bottom of it. We are not crucifying you. What you said is perfectly okay. But I'm thinking it's just for a little, maybe percentage of women. Okay. For majority, actually, a lot of women are good women. So what you're saying is not wrong, but I'm thinking is for certain percentage. So May, please don't feel that way. We're not crucifying you. Um, you're trying to put problem between we
When you
and our
say
sister May.
we,
It will
Dr.
not
Precious,
work for you.
when you say we, I'm actually of the opinion that she should go try her ideas, come back 3 years, 4 years, and give us a progress report. God will keep all of us alive, and we
Somebody
will
say
watch
May
it.
is causing
You know,
wahala.
yeah, people can actually be good speakers, and when it comes to action, they have zero actions. And please, Dr. Precious, I want you to, after today's program, please send John an invite, send Imelda an invite, and send, however, the day John is going to be on the platform and Chingy, I will be on the comment section. I will take their roles. I'll give them the also. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Um, it's quite an interesting topic, and May came from different
Yes,
direction. It's just for us to understand how life
yes.
is. It's not one-sided. You have to go
Yeah.
both ways. So it can be for you, it can be against you. So just when they say about marriage, they say when you are married, if you marry the right
Yes.
partner, your life is complete. If you marry the wrong partner, you are
Yes.
finished. So it's good for us, while choosing our partner, go for the right
Mm-hmm.
one. Who you can be with, not because don't go into marriage thinking, oh, I have a exit button, I can go for divorce. Because you are like is even worse to me, to my own understanding, when kids are involved in
Mm.
marriage and then you are disorganizing them. They don't know where to belong, this and that. So, but if it comes to life threatening or something has to end of life or something, then that one you can go your ways. But general speaking, marriage should be a thing of joy. It's a good thing for you to enjoy, and this is what you call your companion, your partner. You see life through your partner, through your friend, through your husband, through your wife, through that's how you see it, and then it goes a long way. It gives you
Mm-hmm.
long life. So if there are certain things you might be weak in some aspects, but your
You'll be
partner
strong in those
complements
aspects.
you. You know, yeah, so it goes both ways. And then when you come to solution, as I said earlier, if you are the kind of a guy that don't want to adapt, you want to stick to one area, you don't want to change or put some new ideas into your life or your family, then you should remain where maybe you want to be in the village. You'll be there, and then things will come your way. You marry someone that is think like you, then you will remain there. But if you are someone that like explore, you want to see things different aspect, wherever you are, explore. But at the same time, don't forget you are home. You know, because there's one thing we are doing now. Many of us, especially the Igbos, many of us are in diaspora, and then some of us don't think about home, or our kids grow up in diaspora. They never been home. They never think about home. They don't speak their language. They don't know anything. And then it's quite unfortunate that some people that the Caucasian there's a guy I know, he was a Caucasian, a doctor that told him, do your kids speak your language? He said no. Then he said you're making a big mistake. Because your kids, that's what they say, mother tongue. They have to know who they are, where they are from, because of tomorrow. The way the world is going now, if they don't know who they are, they lose their identity. They are just been floating in the air. Everywhere they belong, everywhere they see, they jump into. And then sometimes they may be discriminated, and then they will not have a place they call home. So one, don't go if you are too traditional and you don't want to explore, you don't want to stay where you are, then things will be better that way. But if you want to explore, do it in a better way. See our women, see our wives as your friend. If something goes wrong, let her know. And also our women see your husband as your friend. If something goes on, because some women, when they come into marriage, they have something that only after to look good. They want to make their husband take care of them financially. They don't want to do anything. Vice versa. Now things are changing. So we have to know who we are married to. Make sure that things go well. Because scattered marriage is also a scattered family. It's better don't have a good you end your relationship when you are not married than when you are married then you start cutting it off because you have gone a
Long way.
long way. You both bond a long way to scatter it. So my advice, everybody, try to be good to one another. See your husband as your friend, see your wife as your friend, and be good. Things will be better that way.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Lolo, what is your takeaway? What will you say to men and women to cut down on this divorce? And
So let
please, the
me
people in the comment section, let us know what the solution is so we can let everybody know
so
what
let
you
me
think.
say let me say this. Onyelu Ogelu.
Mm-hmm.
My husband will always say conscience. My husband will always say kindness. To him, kindness means a lot. If you ask him what is the attribute, why did you marry this woman? He will say, because I think she's kind. So
Mm-hmm.
he always talked about and preached kindness, and he always preaches about, someone having conscience. Something you wouldn't take, don't dish it
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of complaining, you see, we are imperfect. So
Mm-hmm.
we come together to bring that thing you call perfection. Because if I'm perfect, then I don't need a better half. We should
Mm-hmm.
think about it that way. And
Mm-hmm.
unless we want to stop our generation here, in the Igbo culture where I belong to, it talks about generations after generations. It means that with your attitude in your home, if you're a bad wife, your children will pick it up. It means that if you have a bad attitude as a man, it means they will pick it up. So that excelling point, you want to see your children start it up,
Mm-hmm.
communicate, be big on communication. Like Dr. Precious, if I wasn't here, it's like I'm at work, I'm getting hobby's text message, I'm getting hobby calls, and I'm calling back. That conversation starts from there. So that when we come back and we don't have the time to actually have conversations, but we have the time to sit and maybe take a coffee or take something. I mean, we must have finished having conversation all day, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
we just want to relax, right? But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't build a place to be reachable, if you don't build a place to be talkable, then it's a problem. You can be, I've told you that I don't know if there's a word called overeducated. You can, whatever you all are you a lawyer? Drop it at the door. There's no court in
Mm-hmm.
your house. Are
Mm-hmm.
you a doctor? Drop it at the door. There's no,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to practice those things with your husband. Drop it
Mm-hmm.
at the door. When you get to the door, I don't care if you're the boss or whatever you are, drop it to the
Mm-hmm.
door. Know that you guys are a team. I've always said if you fail as a wife, it's a mistake. If you fail as a husband, it's a mistake. If you fail as
Mm-hmm.
a mother, then you're in trouble. Because tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
when you're visiting the jailhouse, when you're visiting therapists, when you're visiting certain places that you shouldn't visit, when you're supposed to be hosting celebration after celebration, you spent your youth fighting yourself. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you love your husband, you're fighting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And say no to third party. I've
Yeah.
always said that sometimes we bring these problems to our home,
Mm-hmm.
especially the women. Now you want people's opinion to play in your marriage when marriage
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be a man and a woman. Now you bring out third parties that were not that. You see, Abi, how can I give you an answer to a scenario where I'm not involved? I wasn't there. I don't know what led to what. Because to
Mm-hmm.
every action, there's a reaction. So
Mm-hmm.
when you put out those attitude, expect reaction. Now, for
Mm-hmm.
me, say no to women that my money is my money. Your money is our money. It's a bad wife. Bad wife.
Mm-hmm.
Say no to those women. If my son is ready to get married, you can't bring such women home. I've said that you can't bring such women home as my brother. Say
Mm-hmm.
yes to a woman that loves you. Love is supposed to take place. Love is something
Mm-hmm.
you and without like Obey for the Megu said that you don't look back. It's not something
Mm-hmm.
you come in with plan B. You see, any man or woman coming into a marriage with plan B, now always also know that those are bad women and bad men. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to come in with the tools to make these things work. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
woman that every moment she's tired, she's tired, she's tired, she's tired. She went to the doctor. I'm still tired. I'm still tired. When it is time to play pragmatics, you create excuses as a man. If you have
Mm-hmm.
assisted her to go and visit the doctor and you
Mm-hmm.
don't see changes in that, know that there's somebody, there's one John somewhere. Because people that answers John, they like to chase people's wives. People that
Are you
know
talking
that
about John in the
there's one
comments?
John and there's one. you know,
John,
before
no, John, they have finished you. Eh?
for
John, they have.
Diary join us next week.
I am looking for my Johnny. Did you see my Johnny? Have you not played that music before? So no, say because there's something Odumego say. Who is buying your wife's attention? Who is buying
Mhm.
your husband's attention? If you find out that in 24 hours your wife cannot give you as little as 2 hours, something is wrong. My God,
Mhm.
you can't be that busy as a husband, as a wife, that you don't want to play team play.
Mm.
Maybe I've always said there are domestic chores where I hate. I hate to do dishes,
Mm.
and my man likes to do dishes. So now let me tell you how this equation is balanced.
Keep your man well, oh. A lot of women hearing that will come for him.
What did you
Hide
say?
him, oh. I say hide that your man. A
Yeah.
lot of women hearing this that he likes to
No,
do
my,
dishes.
I hate to I like to use myself as example. I hate to do dishes. But I got married to a man that in his family, the only woman in his family passed. May she rest in peace, Adaku. Now they grew up with just boys in the house, right?
Mm.
So now these are part of the skills he brought to the home. If you say him
Mm.
organize these dishes, you'll be like, what? Has this guy ever worked in the restaurant? That would be your
Mm.
first question. But he's an IT guru.
Mhm.
That's not what his place is. But he has chosen to beautify his home with that. Now, guess
Mhm.
what? He doesn't cook. And I don't go playing blame games because if I count the things he does, then that means I'll be shot in the leg. So, for people that are
Mm.
looking for perfections in their home, when they should be working on their weaknesses, bring those weaknesses together and work on them. That a man is
Mhm.
not capable of bringing all the finances does not make the woman the head of the home. Unfortunately, in the culture where we come from, a woman is not the head of the home. A woman still needs to be submissive. Now, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that as a leader, you should give her what you cannot give to your sisters. It doesn't mean that when you do family meeting, your wife should be the discussion. These are errors. When you make your wife your friend, if she's a good woman, she will always compliment you, even in her sleep. However, some people said marriage is not an achievement, but I want to tell you guys today when I look behind and check the things I have achieved in my life, I count my marriage as one of them because it's the best thing that has ever happened to me as a woman. And the reason why
Oh,
I'm going to count it as an achievement,
your
the reason
husband will be somewhere blushing now. But go
is
ahead.
my spouse has made it possible that I'm not struggling in the marriage. He has made marriage look easy, even when we know that it's not easy. Now he has
Mm.
made himself a reach out point. That's if I'm having a bad day, even if I don't want to talk about it, there are certain things he will do that will make me talk about it. Now imagine I come in laughing. I always say, baby, you're never serious. Because he will turn everything to njakri, jokes. He will turn everything to jokes in the house. And even though I
Mm.
don't want to smile, I will start smiling. And even when I throw tantrums like, leave me alone, I want to go to bed, in the morning, you just see somebody trying to cuddle you or kiss you. So, how can you say no to fresh wine? How can you say no to something as beautiful
Beautiful.
as that? So, and that's
Mhm.
when a woman has also laid a place that look like a palace. And when you come home, instead of to become the king, then you want to be one motor packed out. Make sure you build your principles before coming into a marriage. That's knowing who you are. And however, be learnable, be teachable, and be correctable. Because somebody that is teachable is correctable, and somebody that is learnable is correct. Don't be too fast to speak. Dr.
Mhm.
Precious, I'll give you an example because Obefi Odumegu said he talked about certain things. He said maybe it could be trouble they bring from the school. Let me say I get something from the school, whether good or bad. Now, there are some things I wouldn't want to share with just my husband hearing it. I like to bring my kids together and say, this is what I got. If it's good or bad, we have to solve it as a family. Maybe if I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to digest it, or maybe I'm not in that situation to say, babe, this is what's going on. Now,
Mm-hmm.
however, but if you're in the position to discuss it, stop discussing it with outsiders. Discuss it in your
Mm-hmm.
home first.
Yes.
And that teaches the kids how to communicate. You find out that everything that happens in your house, because mommy is always on the phone, talking to grandpa, talking to grandma, talking to one friend that cannot keep her home, but want to teach
Mm-hmm.
you how to keep their home. Now, mommy is caught doing that, or daddy is caught doing that. Hold on. Do you know that child will go to school and all the child will be known instead of academics? That child will be known as a talkative because that is what
Mm-hmm.
we have introduced. I hear some parents saying, hey, Onyemulumaka, who gave birth to these children? It was you. Most of them are
Mm-hmm.
possessing your character. Most of them are possessing the things that you have done as parents. Trust me,
Mm-hmm.
a fruit cannot fall far from the tree.
From the tree.
So when you're building these things and you're saying, hey, these children need to learn, teaching kids is not by mouth. Kids learn by what they see. If you're
Mm-hmm.
shouting, you don't want late night, as a mother and father, don't keep late night.
Mm-hmm.
And when you keep that late night, make sure you explain to your kids because you are questionable. Don't
Mm-hmm.
live a high and mighty life where your children cannot talk to you. And you know why I'm sad? Dr. Precious, the way our children they buy themselves for this country, don't they vex me?
Mm-hmm.
You just hear that a lovely child of 18 years just pied themselves because loneliness has taken part of them. The
Mm-hmm.
country where we reside in is so lonely. It's not like Africa where you have people that will help you build and equip these children.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm trying to say in essence is please let us raise our kids the right way and teach your kids how to also be family oriented. If you have that mother where you cannot talk to, instead of still holding grudges with your mother, fix the problem. If you still have that father where there's no problem, where problems are everywhere, fix the problem. So that the children don't start seeing everybody as enemy. Maybe there are homes where you get in already, the children know what is keeping enmity because their parents are crazy. Their
Mm-hmm.
mother is always arguing with somebody. Their mother is always not peaceful. Their father is crazy. For example, the person that gave my husband a haircut, we just loved this guy for some reasons. Why he went for his haircut appointment, right? And I asked him, I said, hey, bro, what's going on? How about your dad? You know, I like the way you behave. He said, oh, my dad is in jail. I said, but have you gone for him? He said, no, they didn't tell me, so I didn't get involved. In my
Mm-hmm.
head, he was like, the dad went to jail for something he doesn't know about. If that family was a strong family, they will find how out to bring the dad out of jail. So I started giving him some tips. Because when you teach your children teamwork, when you teach them how to cut oha, when you teach them how to start preparing the soup, Obina is doing this, Akudo is doing this, John is doing this, Emeka is doing this. When you incorporate all these things together, AB, tomorrow they will learn how to start prepping before cooking. They will
Mm-hmm.
learn that it might take 2 days to make this soup. So let me start today. If you teach
Mm-hmm.
a child that by 5 a.m. you wake up to study because maybe 4, 5 a.m. I can't sleep anymore, I'm studying. I'm in the study room. So when my child
Mm-hmm.
grow up, they will know that this is mommy study time. So they have to find out a time that works with them and that works with the school. And they will start.
Mm-hmm.
You're the type that you don't go to library. As a mother of a father, you have never read a book before, but yet you want the children to do better. And then you sit down and tell them a lie. You are prophet lie in your house. Pastor lie. You lie how your childhood that you were better. I actually, let me summarize by saying this. I actually had one of my uncles that was lying to one of his kids, telling the kid that he came first position in everything. Unfortunately
Mm-hmm.
for him, his sister was home. The sister see ya, itubo onwe gị na-asị. Ị gwara ụmụ gị how you take, you're almost the last person in the class. Ifele onwe ya a na-eme ya. He picked up
Mm.
when he was in the university. So he now had to correct himself from that day. Guess what?
Mm.
It didn't take up to 6
What?
months. He started doing better academically because that was
Mm.
the position for him to drop the lies he's been telling since and manage
Mm.
it better academically. So please, where we need help, let's seek help. If you know your man is traumatized, let's seek help. If we know that your man don't get erection, there are some men that just because of the headache you give them, they can no longer get erection.
Mm-hmm.
Please, let's seek help. Change from
Mm.
being a naga. You don't have, people are busy topping the board. You're busy nagging. What is your business with nagging every day? Throw away
Mm-hmm.
those petty things. And the change you're looking for in your home, can you try to be the change that you solely are seeking for outside? If you want a
Mm-hmm.
playboy, go get a playboy. See, if you go to my platforms, you're going to see places where my husband dyed his hair because maybe I went to a party and I want him to look like a playboy for me. And when we got to the party, he was looking like the playboy I want. The day I want him to look like a professor, he will. And the day he wants me to look like a club girl, man, I'm gonna look like a club girl. I don't care what you say. Just like Dr. Abi, we saw one of your photograph where you said Hobby picked up the dress. By the way, that dress was beautiful. And you said Hobby picked up the dress that you wore, that anybody that wants to eat you up should go to Hobby. Hobby found out that it was good. And then
Mm-hmm.
prayer, 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 prayer. Stop deceiving yourself. I'm not saying that praying is bad. But I'm saying that when you know you're a bad person, instead of praying, God, change this person, change that person, Father, Lord, change me because I'm a wicked person. I think God will answer
Mm-hmm.
that prayer better. Most of us need changes in areas where we can change. And we should stop hiding around tradition and Christianity. The way I'm going to rest my point, in as much as the man is the head of the home, it takes a good helper to help enhance that home. Please and
Mm-hmm.
please again. Marriage, I have not seen anything sweeter than marriage, not even my textbooks. Marriage is sweet, but as you make your bed, so you lay on it. So
Mm-hmm.
bring those goodness in marriage. I remain Lolo.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Lola, you have spoken well. Even the chat section is clapping for you. You summarized everything. Thank you so much. Thank you for those words of wisdom. Thank you so much. From what Lola is saying, guys, marry your friend, communicate, be nice. Lola, am I missing anything? We're summing it up. Be nice and what else?
Be nice, be teachable, be learnable,
Teachable and
and be
learnable.
listenable. You need to also listen.
Can we listen to John say something? Once if we can stay 1.5 hours, so he can join for next
Yes,
week.
we will try to make
So
it 1.5 hours. So in that case, we will all be talking in short, short segments because you see, once it's the thing they sweet, they go. You can't even stop again. Can I stop anybody? When I try to talk, I have a small voice. When I try to talk, nobody's
You
listening.
know, we also
And
try to summarize
people
it,
are
but
talking.
We had Dr. Azubike come in and the whole scenario changed. Remember, I was pushing for
Yes,
somebody
we were
else
trying
earlier.
to round up, and Dr. Zubike came, and everything changed. Um, thank you so much, Lolo. Odumegu, do you have any last minute gem that you want to leave with us?
uh, I have said my last minute, but just that we should be good to one
And be
another and
friends.
make your wife or your husband your friend. So that's it, and then we teach our kids in the
Mm-hmm.
right way. Thank you. John, try to be here next week. I don't want you to make mouth and
I
we don't
know. Don't
see you.
mind John. John is all mouth and no action because they're called them keyboard warriors. But anyway, thank you all so much. Everybody that is still here, God bless you. Thank you for everybody that stopped by. God bless you. I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your effort. That typing is not easy. My sister Imelda, God bless you. You made today so much more interesting. John, in as much as you're so controversial, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Odumegu, well, I don't know. I have to send
All
you a
right.
bottle of wine. You're too much. My Lolo. I don't know what I would do without her. So thank you all so much. I appreciate everybody. Thank you once again. And the final thing we're going about is we're going to leave is marry your friend to begin with. It makes it easy. Our people will say it gets why. And after you have married, try to make your spouse your friend. You get why? And let's look inwards. Let's stop pointing fingers. In as much as it looks like May was attacked, May had a point. The point is, let's look inwards and see what we're doing. So we women, we are not innocent at all. We need to look inward and see what we're doing to make the family better, to make our husbands happier, to make the home a joyful place. So if you see that things are not happening, it's not by nagging. Nagging will not change anything. Stop nagging. Lord Odumegu is not saying, he's saying that it's not just by prayer either. But I think a combination of everything makes a difference. You have to pray a little, you have to, communicate, not nag, communicate. And then when you need to get help, seek counseling. It helps. That's the one thing I will never stop saying, that our people think counseling is something that is meant for Yibo. No, counseling is right as long as you get the right counselor. And it may not always be a professional one. If you have somebody with wisdom that God has placed in your life, utilize that wisdom. So, but whatever you do, make sure you're all bringing your 100%. It's not just the woman, it's not just the man. I mean, when we talk, we may sound like it, but me, I truly do believe women have 50% of blame, men have 50% of blame. So let each person work on their own flaws. Let each person look inwards and start the change. Change starts with you. And if I do the change that I need to do, this other person do the change they need to do, and that is across every family, every marriage, every couple. You do your change, they do their change. There's no way it will not work, because we are all here to serve each other. Don't think so much of yourself. Think of the other person. What can I do for the other person? Not what can the other person do for me. So let's go out there, because we all agree marriage is beautiful. Me, I love marriage. I love, 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 love marriage. Marriage is sweet. Honestly, marriage is sweet. When I hear people that say, I don't want to get married, I'm afraid of marriage, I don't understand. Marriage is sweet. As long as you're with the right person, or with the person that Lola said is learnable and teachable, because we don't know everything, but we can learn. We don't always get it right, but we can make a change. So thank you all so much once again. Let's go out there and have beautiful marriages. And until next time or next Sunday, may God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.